What's going on, BWO? Buffalo Spartan here. Joined tonight with my friend and co-host Corey, as well as my friend and co-host Patrick.
Up,
Tonight
Paul?
we have a special guest with us, the one, the only Ken Johnson, aka Pinto Ron. How
Hey,
you
how
doing
you
tonight,
doing?
Ken?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So, obviously we want to hear, a bunch about the Pinto Ron story, um, all this stuff. We're going to get into that here shortly, but we want to talk a little bit about Bills football to start, and kind of get your thoughts on the team this year, uh, the direction that we're going, and what are your predictions for the team this year?
Well, you'll never catch me saying we're not going to go 17-0, win every playoff game in the Super Bowl. That just won't happen. And for the 50th year in a row, yes, this is our year. I've been saying that for 50 years. But this team is built to get there. I mean, a lot of teams like Denver in the 90s, you spit off a whole pile of teams that made a Super Bowl, but there was always 5 or 6 years where they're falling short. John Elway was almost ran out of town before they won those Super Bowls. Marino was almost run out of town too. Oh wait, they never actually did win. Now that I think about it, but Greasy, I'm sorry. But Buffalo's in that spot now. We've been winning now for 4 or 5 years, where it's our year, and it is going to be our year one of these years. More than likely this year.
Mhm. So, what
Yeah,
do you
this
think
year.
our biggest hurdle is?
Our biggest hurdle is making sure that Josh Allen stays healthy. One thing that bothers me a lot right now, outside of his style of play and stuff like that, is that most teams, if you look at their quarterback situation, at the end of the year, there's only 3 or 4 teams that'll have a quarterback having started in every game. Josh has done it 6 years in a row. The law of averages says that something's going to happen pretty soon or one of these years, and that bothers me. Uh, I think his year is probably going to get extended a little bit, not the year, his career, on account of the broken finger he had last year. Because he had that broken finger, they taped it together. It was bothering him all year long. He learned, not to ram into people, not to get tackled, because when you get tackled, you have to put your hand out, stay in the pocket a little bit longer. I know he did run a lot, but he'd always slide. He stayed in the pocket longer. He had a lot more patience, and that was all as a result of that broken finger. So ironically, even though I'm saying he hasn't been injured in 6 years, the one injury he did have might extend his career. Because a quarterback of his style, they usually only last 7 or 8 years, and all of a sudden they fall apart all at once. I call it being Cam Newton. But you can have a lot of other examples of running quarterbacks where that happened. So I'm hoping that got knocked out of him last year, and he'll have a long career. But it all depends on Josh staying healthy for the 7th year in a row.
Patrick, you had a question?
No, it wasn't more of a question. It was just more of a statement. You said it that for 50 years you've said it's our year. Well, I don't know. Some reason this year feels different.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
does
know
feel
why.
different. Yeah, I really do think so. It's because that we've been a dominant team now for about 4 or 5 years. And typically, a team like, I keep referencing Denver in the 90s, that's about how long you're a dominant team before suddenly you break through. You have a lot of failures before that where you think you're going to make it. You got the team that can make it, but just don't happen. It's usually later in the run of the team where they actually start hitting the Super Bowls and making the Super Bowls, winning the Super Bowls.
Awesome. You have anything, Corey?
I that take about Allen's broken finger, man, that was so cool. I didn't think about that. Like that, it's just something as simple as even a broken finger can
Mm-hmm.
cause you enough to be like, "Ooh, let me think about that." And I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, he
So I
changed
really
his
like
he
that.
changed his style to protect the finger. Mhm.
Right,
Mhm.
And then
Yep.
become an
so
MVP because of it.
right, exactly right. I feel like the last couple years, Allen's had some type of injury that he's like kind of kept hidden or kind of like worked through, and I don't feel like he's had a season in the last like 2 or 3 that he hasn't had an injury eventually, almost halfway through the year.
Yeah, he is a wreck at the end of the season. When the off season starts, it takes him months before he starts feeling like a human again. He,
Right.
he is completely beaten up.
Is that how you feel after the season's over?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, a lot of people think, that I'm gonna sit there and curl into a fetal position and suck my thumb because the football season's over. But to me, it's like, oh, thank God, I could just sit here for a while and do nothing for a couple of months. Yeah, I got to admit, and I'm getting older. I mean, I'm not
Right.
30 or 40 anymore. And yeah, this season it does wear on me, but I keep that adrenaline up. Uh, it's kind of like the Blues Brothers or the car in the Blues Brothers. They got it to its goal, and then it just exploded all at once when they got there to the Cook County's assessor's office or wherever it was. That's kind of how I feel. Like I'm going and going and going, and then the season's over, and boom, just collapse. And
Awesome. Awesome. Well, speaking of vehicles and everything else, obviously you're known as Pinto. Can you explain the Pinto thing to us?
well, the Pinto was just my family car. I bought it in 1986 for I think $300. I think I got my money's out of it because it's like, oh, 39 years later, I'm still driving it. So it was a family car, and I started having a core group that I'd sort of be tailgating with in the late '80s. A couple friends, my brother was one of them, just a few, and we were always kind of up to shenanigans. We're always trying to do silly things, not big silly things, but just shenanigan type things. And it was in '89 that I put the first grill on the hood of the car, and I didn't intend really to do that. What it was I built a wooden grill because I wanted to have the perfect bacon double cheeseburger, and to do that you had to have it on a flaming grill. So I built it out of plywood and 2x4s, but I never built legs on it. So I'm trying to bend over, and eyebrows kept burning off. So I picked the whole thing up and put it on the car itself, figuring it'll be okay. There's wood under there; it'll protect it. But the wood burnt through and left a little tiny burn hole in the car, which really ticked me off because it was a new looking car. So the next week, I looked at it. I figured, oh, I'm gonna have to buff the hood out and repaint it during the off season, or when it gets warm again. This was halfway through the season. So the next week I did the same thing, except I used 3/4 inch plywood, 2 sheets of it. I thought that's gonna be good. Nope, that burnt down too, and made the hole bigger. So since I was gonna redo the hood anyway, the next time I put a little tiny gas station grill on that spot that was already burnt, and uh, make a long story short, I never did rebuff the hood out. I just kept expanding the whole concept as the years went by. So
That's
just started
awesome.
out with a little shenanigan.
Awesome. Awesome.
So
So
that's
you
the
said
origin of how the Pinto got to be a car that we're cooking on. Mhm.
So,
yeah.
quick question on the car, real quick. Did you reinforce the rear end so it can't explode if somebody hits it?
No, that was a '78 and before. Okay,
Oh,
my car was not the exploding version.
okay.
And it was kind of an interesting concept. The Pinto was the first unibody. They tried to make it real small and real light. There was no frame on it. And to save space, they took the gas tank and they wrapped it over the axle. So half of the gas tank was on one side of the axle and half the gas tank was on the other. And the transaxle, I know how many people are going to know what a transaxle is, had two bolts that stuck out. And so when you got hit from behind, the gas tank would be driven into the bolts. It would puncture the tank, and that's what caused the explosion.
That's
Great
awesome.
design. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you've had yours for 39 years. So how do you
I
keep
bought
that
it in
thing?
1986. Yeah.
So
I
So
how
wasn't
do
even
you keep it
born
running?
yet.
yeah. I got it for $300, so I got my money out of it.
Damn.
Yeah, I would say so.
I've rebuilt the entire thing over the years. There's only like one original part left in it, and I think that's the transaxle itself and the engine block. Everything else has changed. I rebuilt the engine, rebuilt the transmission. I welded a new unibody on. Every part attached to it, except the chassis itself, is not the original parts.
Awesome. So
Mhm.
you obviously you are on the search for parts whenever necessary.
Right now in my basement, I have what I call my Pinto Auto Parts store. Every single part in that car, right down to little connectors and stuff like that, I have in stock. I got shelves and shelves. Literally looks like an auto parts store. The bigger things I got in the garage, like I've got all the glass, I've got all the fenders, I've got the entire front end grill, seats, everything. I have everything in stock for that car. I never would have to go anywhere. I've got 3 carburetors and I've got 2 carburetor rebuild kits just in case. I've got an extra brand new alternator plus an alternator rebuild kit. Just everything. In fact, this summer I had to swap it apart. My voltage regulator had gone. The battery wasn't charging, so I had to go to my Pinto Auto Parts store, locate my voltage regulator. And then the clip fell apart because it was a 40-year-old clip disintegrated. But yep, I had a clip for a voltage alternator in there too. So good to go.
Oh yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Hey,
So
Corey,
if
I'm going to
anyone
shoot it to
ever
you. You got
needs
next
any
one.
pinto parts, hit up Ken.
Yeah, if I stop doing this pinto thing and you got a pinto and you need a part, I got it.
You have a job for. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'll pass it over to you, Corey. Go ahead and give a question to Ken.
So obviously in the whole football world, I would imagine, but definitely in the Buffalo Bills world and the Mafia world, I mean, everyone knows you as
Mm.
Pinto Ron for the cooking on the car and the ketchup and mustard. What has driven you for all these years to continue to do that? Is it just the love of the Bills, or is it something more? Like what keeps driving you every year besides the nice Pinto?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I like that line. Well, first of all, I separate the football and the tailgate in my own mind. They're two completely different events. In fact, I really don't have an in-stadium presence. I'm literally just there, screaming. Well, I don't actually scream and yell. I'm kind of stoic. I kind of rock in my chair the whole time. But as far as what keeps driving me, it was just when we first started out, I had a core group of people. There were 7, 8, 9, or 10 of them. None of them are with me anymore. They all couch potatoed. That's where that's where at like age 42 they decide to just watch it on TV and they don't come anymore. I call that couch potatoing. But no, it's the fun that we'd have, and it grew, and it right now to me it's all about the people at the Pinto tailgate, or when I go on road trips, I just know everyone, and just the camaraderie before the game, the Saturday night before the game. That's what drives me. That whole thing. If I ever think of giving it up, I'm giving that up too, and that I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up the camaraderie that I have with all the fans at the Hammerlot and across the nation.
Yeah, I mean, it's every game I've ever gone to. That's the number one place I'm at. I won't park or go anywhere else ever since I went to Hammer's Lot for
Yeah.
the first time, and and it's crazy because all like we were talking before the show came on about like all the other fans from other teams that come out there just because of the stuff that they see and hear about the Bills Mafia and Hammer's
Hmm.
Lot. But
Right.
it's just, man, it's so awesome that, like you said, for all these years, that's what drives you is the love of the fan and seeing all those people and the camaraderie. And just
Yeah.
meeting you, there's times I'm like, man, he's got to be dog tired. I don't want to go over and say hi to him. But
No, that's
everybody, like, you see you and you're, hey, how you doing?
yeah.
Photo, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, that's
So,
never the case. Anyone can come over.
yeah,
That's what I do. If it ever bothered me that everybody's bothering me, I just stopped doing it.
right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. And
Patrick, you
also,
got a
like I
question?
mentioned, road trips too. I mean, every city now, especially since the era of social media, every city has a Bills backers group that steps up, and it doesn't matter where I go. There's going to be a huge crowd of Bills fans there, all gathering. It's the same atmosphere as in Hammers Lot, just in a different city.
Right.
I can agree to that.
Mm.
Oh, you got a
So
question, Patrick?
I do. So Spartan had an interesting question that he wanted one of us to ask, and I'll ask. Would you mind sharing the story of what do you do with your shirts after the ketchup and mustard?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I use the same style shirt each time. It's Bills for Life. There's a website, Bills for Life, and it's not mine, but the guy gives me the shirts. So I have about 10 of them right now. And each one of those shirts will last about 5 ketchup and mustard. So I got a big stock. I've got them all clean for the year. Um, when I say 5, I mean I bleach the shit out of them. I don't know if you have to edit that. I bleach them, heavily
No,
bleach
go
them.
ahead.
So after five uses, they're like a Hulk Hogan shirt. You touch them and they just fall apart. So after it is, I take the shirt off, I clean up right there at the tailgate, and I put it in a plastic bag and I take it home and I throw it in my freezer. So I'm collecting that. I'm collecting them in my freezer all winter long. Sometime in March, when I got nothing to do, I pull them all out of the freezer and spend my probably take 4 or 5 hours, and I'll do it all at once. I'll 10 of them at the same time in my basement in the basement. Yeah, have them all washed.
Hell
Some of
yeah.
them, some of them are unsavable because I've done it like 5 times or something like that, and so I'll give them away to somebody. I in the last couple of years, I've been having that source give me about 3 new ones a year that I cycle in because some of them are pretty beat right now. So. I'm not sure if that answered your question. But I
It
do
did.
use them about 5 times each. They're in my freezer until I clean them.
So if anyone randomly goes to Ken's house and opens the freezer, just random
Not right
ketchup.
now. Right now, they're all cleaned and stacked in a pile for the season. And
Oh, that's
I'll just
awesome.
deploy one each week. Mhm.
So, all right. Now I got to ask the big question. What's the origins behind the ketchup and mustard, and how did that become a thing?
Like everything at my tailgate party, it started out as an innocent shenanigan that just spiraled over 40 years into what you see now. That started out probably about 1990. I'm going to take a wild guess. Everything started between about 89 and 91. The foundations of everything that grew to what it is today. But I think that was about 1990, and I just had a burger, and I saw my brother had a bottle of ketchup, and I just held out my hand and said, "Hey, can you give me some ketchup on the burger?" Expected he was just gonna, do that, squeeze it a little on. Instead, he shot it about 6 or 7 inches that hit the burger, bounced off, and got the correct amount on the burger. So, but then I jumped back a little bit. It's like, whoa. So all of a sudden, okay, when something like that happens, it's like, oh, that gets us thinking. So for a couple games after that, every time I wanted ketchup on a burger, I'd hold my arm out to the side. He was standing back farther and farther, maybe 3 or 4 feet, and he was trying to arc it. And he tried to splash it off the burger, ricochet it off the burger to get the correct amount on the burger. And then another guy took over and he stood on the top of the pinto and started shooting it down. And then years are going by, and somewhere between then and now, it looks like it does now. There was no real transition period. It just kept getting messier and messier.
Do you wear nose plugs when you do it?
No, no. I push the glasses up. I got to stare at the camera, not the camera. I got to stare at the shooters. Can't move my head back and forth because that way it'll bounce off the glasses and nothing gets slipped in. But
Oh,
no,
okay.
no nose plugs. After 40 years of doing that, I don't get the EBGBs from ketchup or mustard.
Yeah, I would
No, I
imagine.
didn't know if it just packed up your nose or not.
It's done that before. Yeah, in my cleanup routine, I have a couple people
Oh,
working the ears, and every once in a while we have to work the nose too. It's like a NASCAR pit crew, changing the tires.
So,
how do
we've
how
all
do I
seen.
get that job?
Huh? Oh,
How do I
for the
get
last
that?
couple of years, my brother's been doing it. He puts a raincoat on, holds the water way above my head, and it's about 6 or 7 gallons of water. It is heated with a little spricket, it's a square container. Puts a raincoat on, and it literally, after I pull the shirt off, it's only my head and arms. And it only takes about 90 seconds or so to get nearly all of it off. And then he starts doing the targeting thing, like kind of get under the nose, and he aims it, and then we get a couple people in to work the ears. There was a while before COVID when a lot of the Buffalo Bills wives would come over, and I'd look left and right and see who's working on the ears, and they'd be like, I know them. They'd be the wives of the Bills. I remember thinking, how did I get to this position in life? Where I got Buffalo Bills wives cleaning out my ears. but
Oh, that's a good one.
but it's pretty much my brother that does all the cleaning up of me right now.
So, follow up on that. Doug Augie has a question here. Do you still like ketchup and mustard on your burger? And then my follow up to that is every time we see the video, we always see it on you. We never see it on the burger anymore. Do you ever get it on there?
Yeah, I have the burger open when they're shooting. I have it open so I can guess that something had to hit it because I keep it open the entire time. Um, but I never see it because as soon as I'm blinded, it's all over for the next half hour. Everyone's taking pictures and I'm posing with the burger looking left, right, but it's all on voice. Can he look left? Can he turn this way? Can he turn that way? Um, but the burger is usually half gone, or sometimes 3/4 gone before I even get back to the van because lately a lot of people have been coming up taking bites out of it. I'm holding it up, they're getting a picture, and they're literally taking bites. I think it's atomized now before it's done. When it's really cold out, sometimes I have to lift my glasses up a little bit and look because I can't feel my fingers and I don't know if it dropped off. I have to go pick it back up again.
You should mess with people if they try to bite and just put a frozen burger patty in there for when they try to bite it.
Oh, one time was hilarious. This was last year, I think. Somehow somebody forgot to start cooking the burger. It wasn't right. Usually I depend on the burger being ready. I'll come across and get it just before I go out. But he forgot to put the burger on, my chef dude. And so it's like literally they're already starting their speech up there. I've got to get all the way around to the front. And I got no burger. So we put a raw burger it's not going to cook. I put a raw burger on the grill and I took an acetylene torch, you know. I just I just scored the top and turned it over and scored the bottom a little bit just to hold it together, you know, just so there was
Right.
something, just kept it from dripping out. And yeah, somebody came up and took a half bite and ate about half of it. It was a raw burger. They're so drunk they didn't even know they were eating a raw burger.
Well, there you go, Pat.
Oh yeah.
You can look. The burger has some, but not a lot. The
That's what
most
I'm
of it's
saying.
uncanny.
Right.
Yeah. But it really started getting aggressive with the ketchup and mustard when I had to develop the cleanup routine, because until about 98 or 99 I didn't have a cleanup routine, just depended on paper towels and stuff like that, and I was not trying to deliberately get, you know, hosed down with ketchup and mustard. It would just happen, you know. I mean, there'd be stuff on my face, maybe arms. There was a little while where I changed into a different shirt, maybe pull a pair of Zuba pants on, but then it started getting so messy I had to develop the cleanup routine. When I did that, I think that was about 99 or 2000. As soon as I developed it, it's the exact same cleanup routine I use now. I suddenly realized it doesn't matter what you get on me. It takes exactly the same amount of time to wash off. So at that point, I just got the attitude, go have at it. You know, that's when I started piling 3 ketchups and 3 mustards and having it launched off the top of the van rather than the Pinto.
Awesome. Awesome. So on top of obviously being known for the ketchup and mustard, food from the Pinto, which I must say is amazing. I
Hmm.
have had the cuisine off of the Pinto.
It's because of the bowling ball. When you have a bowling ball shot, everything tastes good after that.
Well, that's what I was going to get to next. So the infamous bowling ball that you
Right.
have,
Hmm.
obviously there is an origin story.
Right.
Could you tell our viewers a little bit of the origin of the bowling ball?
Yeah, back in the late 80s, we continuously go back there. And the original crew I keep referencing, we had this ritual where at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or no, 10, 11, and 12 o'clock, you know, on the hour, we'd all sit around, we'd all do some shots. We used to call it first period, second period, third period, even though it's a football game. I don't know why we did that. And we had a special shot glass we were using for that. It was you know, it had 3 different levels to it. So one day, you know, somebody dropped the glass and broke it in the middle of our thing. And it's like, what? So we're obsessive compulsive. We have to do this or the world's going to collapse and burn, you know? So we're running all over looking for a shot glass and we're going to cars around us. We didn't want a little paper cup or anything like that. Anyway, so somebody looked at my car. 2 people claimed that they're the ones who did it. Somebody said, "Oh, look, there's an old bowling ball back there." I had the bowling ball for a different ritual we used to have back then. We called it beer bottle bowling. Before we'd go in, we'd bowl all our bottles down until they were all smashed, and then go in. So the bowling ball was in the car for that, and we just temporarily decided to use that for a shot glass just for that day. And I told them, "Don't worry, I'm going to have another shot glass before the next game. You know, I'll try to get one of those, you know, specialty shot glasses." And I don't know, I just procrastinated and never got another shot glass. So that become the shot glass we use for our little ceremony and stuff. And then people would see that. And so I just started giving out shots to people who said, "Hey, that's a cool thing. Let me try that." And then it just spiraled over 40 years again.
Awesome. That is
35
awesome.
years. What is it? 1990 to now. What time? 35 years. Okay. I keep saying 40.
35.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, 40 is the age of the Pinto almost.
Yeah. 40 is how long I've owned the Pinto.
Yeah, oh
The
yeah.
Pinto
How
itself
long
is the 1980. So that's 1980.
45.
45. Yeah.
How many games in a row was it that you made before you, or you still haven't missed one yet?
I still haven't missed one yet. I started the streak I'm on right now, minus the COVID games.
Right.
It started in 1994, the home opener in '94, Jets game. If you can remember that game, I doubt it. But no, I never intended to have the game streak like I did. All I wanted to do is I always think all good Bills fans should in 1 year in their life at some point should just go to every game, you know, just a complete season. And I actually tried it the year before and kind of fell short, so I was going to try it again. Wasn't really advertising I was doing it, but yeah, I actually managed to get to every game in 1994. They didn't make playoffs that year, so it was only 16, and that was going to be it. I was still going to go to some road trips, you know, pick and choose like most people do. But the next year came by, and my dad, who was an old truck driver, decided he wanted to do some nostalgia and drive across the country. So we were playing in Denver, home opener, actual opener, season opener. So I said, "Oh, okay, I'll drive with you." So we drove to Denver back. So that was game number 17. And I think 4 out of the next 5 games were either at the Ralph or extremely close, a game I'd go to anyway. So that was New York City, like one I'd go to anyway. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, hey, if I go to the Miami game, that'd be 25 games in a row. And 25 led to 30 and 30 led to 40. And I can remember thinking at 50, he says, "Oh, Jesus, 50 is the point of no return. If I do 50, I'm done for." And yeah, I did it. And that was the point of no return. At that point, I knew I was going to just keep going.
So what's the
So what's
number
the
now?
504,
Yeah.
504.
Damn.
Mhm.
man?
It does it's routine though. I mean, I don't even have to
Right.
hardly plan at all anymore. I've been to every city a million times. I know what to do, know where to go, know how to, I just, there's no learning curve anymore.
Right.
Mhm.
And
You
and
got
for,
anything?
and living in Rochester, New York, by the way, um, if you took and look at Rochester and then draw a circle around Rochester that's a 12-hour car drive, 2/3 of the National Football League stadiums fall within that 12 hours. So it's not like you're in Phoenix. Yeah. So when the first half of when I was doing this, maybe the first 15 years, when I wasn't as affluent and actually had to worry about vacation days, I was able to pull off a lot of Saturday and be back on Monday morning type of stuff, even if I had to drive all the way through the night.
Hell, that's dedication.
Mhm.
But now that I'm retired and have a good IRA and the house is paid off, I can, splurge a little bit more. They're longer weekends. I don't,
Right.
And you got all the Pinto parts already, so you're good.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I've never taken the Pinto on a road trip. I don't know how many people have claimed, yeah, it was there. I remember you had your Pinto in Kansas City. We cooked on it. It's like, no, it's never been on a road trip. I don't care how much you remember. It was never on a road trip.
Awesome,
I could
Patrick.
never do that on a road trip because I'd be shut down real fast by the local law enforcement. There's just something about starting your car on fire which makes people edgy, I guess.
Buffalo, they're just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Normal.
Well, it started so
Right.
slow. Like I had one little tiny grill that was non-intrusive, and so everyone knew about it. And it grew to what it is now over 40 years, and
Mhm.
so there's never a point where law enforcement, would suddenly crack down, or nobody got edgy because it grew so small or grew so slowly.
Mhm.
Everyone
Right.
everyone got used to every little piece one at a time.
Awesome, Patrick.
So,
You got
I got a question. What was one of your most memorable favorite Bills moments of all time?
My favorite Bills game, and the moment lasted an entire half, was when the Bills went to their first Super Bowl. It was the AFC Championship game. It was against the Raiders. It was really cold out that game. I think they were LA Raiders at the time. And at halftime, we were winning 42-3. So with an entire half of football left, you knew you were going to the Super Bowl, and that was the biggest party I've ever seen in that stadium. Back then, you could like practically bring kegs in you; they weren't restrictive like they are today. So everyone, it was just like a giant beer blast in there. It was a really good party. That was the best fun I've ever had. Running around the stadium, knowing you're going to the Super Bowl, and there's still a whole half of football to watch, or at least attempt to watch.
I remember going
So
to those games as a kid, and
yeah.
my dad would be like, "Hey, make sure you bring 2 thermoses. One's gonna have hot chocolate for you. One's gonna have hot chocolate for me.
Chocolate for me.
Make sure I get. Make sure you don't drink any of mine."
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well now obviously now I'm a little older, so I
Yeah.
understood his probably had Bailey's in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Probably.
So there's been a lot of good memories in the stadiums, football games. I can remember I've been a part of 3 goalpost tearing down committees, and those were always a blast. The the last one was in 1990. They're a little bit more protective of their goalposts now. Um, in 1990, I sensed that if we won this particular game, it was 4 games to go before the end of the season, and if we won, we were going to win the AFC East or something like that. And I sensed that the goalpost could go down again. So I brought a hacksaw and I had it taped to my back. There was no metal detectors. You just have to not be carrying a hacksaw in with you. So when the goalpost went down, me and my brother are down in the field, and they're laying there. We were able to hacksaw pieces off, and then pass the hacksaw to the next person, so that the goalpost was being cut up down in the field. That was the secret of when you're tearing a goalpost down is you got to be the third wave. Because the first we're on the upper deck, it would take me a while to get down there. The first wave gets chewed up by the dogs, and then the second wave gets beat by the police. And by the time the third wave comes down, the dogs are already full and the police are already tired.
So,
But that only happened 3 times: 80, 88, and 90. Yeah.
so follow on
88, that was a good year.
Yeah.
That's when I was born.
Huh?
That's when I was born.
Oh, okay.
So I do have a follow-on question now that you
Right.
talk about the goalposts. So we're gonna say we got the number 1 seed.
Mhm.
AFC, or we're doing AFC championship
Right.
here at Highmark. We win. We are going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
It is the last game in this stadium.
Hmm.
Do you think it will happen again?
No. Things have changed in the last 20 or 30 years since those days. Security is extremely tight right now, and I think because right now it's all about lawyers and stuff like that, and they're just going way out of their way to make sure that something like that doesn't happen. Because if somebody gets hurt and trampled today, the team really gets screwed. Back then, the culture wasn't like that. So no, I think that the Bills would anticipate something like that, and I think there'd be just a massive amount of security or a massive amount of something to prevent that from happening. I don't know how they would handle it, but yeah.
Line up all the horses along the field and a million.
I'm sure that they're going to have a plan, and I'm sure that no goalpost is going to get torn down. But if they do, I'll be down there somehow.
With that same hacksaw, baby. I'm finding Ken, and I'm next in line for the saw.
I can't see him getting into the stadium with a hacksaw nowadays.
It's too bad I didn't know we were going to I didn't know we were talking this particular story, because a couple of my attic, I've got the piece right there. I could have brought it down, set it here. Got a piece of about that big. Can you see my hands? I don't know.
Hey, if you would like, you can.
See, right now I can just see a little tiny dot of myself there, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanted to send us a photo of it, we can definitely post it on our page.
Yeah, I could go take a photo of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I mean, that was one story that I didn't know about you, Ken. So had I known, we could have talked it. But the many times that we have talked, me and you and me and small groups of super fans and stuff. That's the first time I heard that story. So that's pretty awesome. I did not know that you like to carry hacksaws in your back pocket pretty much.
Well, I just had a sense that something was going to happen. I better be prepared. The funny thing about that game too, not the game, but the experience, when the goalpost went down, a whole pile of people grabbed one of the big lengths of the goalpost, and they managed to get it into the upper deck. I have no clue how they did that, but I saw it going up the upper deck, slowly working its way up to the aisle. It was a massive piece, and they threw it over the end. It's like, talk about a disaster in the making, could have. But yeah, so they threw it over the end. And then when I'm leaving the stadium later, me and my brother, it was just somebody had carried it halfway out in the parking lot, or a bunch of people. I guess they were running around with it. And I'm going out to the van, and it's like, there it is sitting there. No one's around. And me and my brother picked it up and said, hey, look, we can take it, throw it in my van. And we got halfway to my van, and then we dropped it and got all nervous and jerky about that, You know what I mean? Okay, here's the police seeing you run off with a big piece of the goalpost. No, I'm out.
He goes into the game with a hacksaw, but leaving
that
with
was
a
crazy watching.
Right.
I'm on the field, and I'm watching this thing being slowly hoisted up the upper deck, higher and higher. And I thought, no, they're not going to do that. No, this ain't going to happen. Heaved it right over the end.
That is hilarious.
I mean, you know what they say, when in Buffalo.
Yeah, I can only assume that, down below, everyone knew this was about to happen, and they're looking up, and somebody's clearing a big path, so it doesn't drop on anybody.
Somebody's down there like, I got you.
Right. Man.
So this being the final year, and I mean, some of us still call it the Ralph.
I call it the Ralph. I'm going to call the new stadium Son of Ralph.
There you go, Ralph Jr.
Yeah, or Ralph Jr. Yeah.
So,
well,
being
Ralph
that
Jr. is actually his name, so that
I know it kind of works.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything planned that you're doing differently this year, being that it's the last season?
No, not at all. I'm still in the same lot. We're still doing the same thing. I don't have anything special planned just because it's the last stadium in game in that stadium. Remember earlier I said that I separate the tailgate party and the game. They're two different things to me. So yeah, the tailgate's not going to change. It's just going to be like it always is. Might add something, who knows? When a new grill gets added or one of my things, it's all organic. I mean, all of a sudden somebody brings something and hey, let's try this. And so I don't make plans like that. Yeah. But I don't anticipate anything's going to change, and I'm not going to do anything special at the end of the season. I might be too busy making plans to go to the Super Bowl.
I was going to say the Super Bowl and then planning, for the Super Bowl parade.
Right.
Well,
now it's a lot better now because there's.
Yeah, I was going to say Pinto's got to be in the parade.
I could never be in the parade. I'll be down there at the Super Bowl. Remember, the parade's usually the next day. I'll still be down wherever the Super Bowl is.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll be in California. Yeah.
We can have Spartan drive it for you.
We'll have to petition to have Ken flown overnight back to Buffalo for the parade.
But then I'll miss all the great parties there in Super Bowl land.
What if we can convince the team to fly him on the team plane back?
You wouldn't want to be in Buffalo for the first ever Bills parade?
Okay,
I feel like they would have to let you lead that thing.
Yeah, I've given no thought to this, but now you're going to make me think about it.
Right, I'm not kidding. I feel like
good thing I'm retired and don't have to go to work tomorrow because I'm going to be awake all tonight thinking about this.
Like I said, if we can just get the Bills to let you on the plane with the players coming back, I mean, come on, man.
Right,
that would be an amazing story to tell.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Does anyone have a hookup to a private jet that Ken can use for the Super Bowl? Actually, Ken, Patrick, Spartan, myself.
I mean, you would think with all the ketchup and mustard, he's got to have some sort of sponsor deal going on here.
Right.
I don't do any sponsorship. None. Sponsors are evil people. As soon as they get used to the money, they start making rules. They want you to be a fine, outstanding citizen and stuff like that. So, no, I don't need a sponsor. Sponsors just ruin things. They just make rules, and you have to adjust your life to what they want. And I don't want to do that. I just want to have a tailgate.
Right.
Awesome.
Oh man, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's why I don't take any money either. There's no money changing hands at my tailgate party. I don't even have a tip jar. As soon as money starts changing hands, then people start complaining. Oh, I didn't get a burger fast enough. It was free. Stop complaining to me.
Right. Exactly.
So there's no money, no tip jar. I won't take a tip. It's just all on me. So that's fun. Nothing gets in the way. Nothing can not make it fun because nobody's telling you what to do, and there's no money changing hands that somebody's going to complain about. Just go out there and do your thing.
Mm-hmm. So you're speaking of your tailgates and all that. What's a memorable moment that like kind of stands out in your mind where something didn't go as planned?
Oh yeah, I've had a couple of things that didn't work out all that well. I remember when T.O. came by one time, or Terrell Owens. He didn't come by. I'm sorry. When he came to Buffalo, as I thought, I got to do something because we got T.O. and he had that statement. I always made, bring your popcorn, right? So what I did was I got a metal garbage can, drilled a few holes in it and stuff like that for air, managed to rig some stuff into it in the middle of it so that I could have a popcorn maker inside there. And, was filling it up with briquettes, and throwing the popcorn into this thing that I got sitting over the briquettes. And yeah, it was popping fine. It was actually working. But I think half the tailgate party burnt themselves because they kept trying to open up the garbage can to throw something in. Even when I put big signs, do not touch the popcorn maker. I couldn't get people to stop touching it.
Come on,
or another thing I tried to do, and I thought it worked fine, but nobody else did, is I was making something called daiquiri dogs. you know what a daiquiri is, right? I forgot what alcohol you throw in it, but you get the ice, you get the flavoring, you throw the alcohol in, you put it in the blender. But what I was doing is I was chopping up hot dogs and putting hot dogs in there too, putting the blender on high, and you couldn't even see the little hot dog pieces. They were so chopped up. So I called it a daiquiri dog. And people would start drinking it and they think it was okay until I told them what was in it. Then they were practically throwing up. I mean, come on, it's only a hot dog. After a couple of weeks, I had to take it down because too many people were getting grossed out. You couldn't even taste the
Trying to
hot
live.
dog.
Holy shit.
So yeah, I've had some failures like that.
All right. So which one are you bringing back for this year?
I would definitely do a daiquiri dog. If
Well,
you have, I would definitely take that.
I could actually think about that. There's a couple of things I've had to get rid of because it got too crowded around my Pinto, and I can't pull it off anymore. Like once a year, I think it was the second game of the season, I'd make wine. So I bring a whole shitload of grapes in a little tiny kid's swimming pool. I put a bunch of water next to it, and I'd have people taking off their shoes, and they'd be stopping on the grapes. So at the end of the tailgate party, there'd just be a bunch of mushed up grapes, usually with mud mixed in and stuff like that. And then I'd take and drain the fluid and put it in a couple gallon containers, and I would put it in my basement for about a year, and it would brew. And then I'd bring it back next year and call it Pinto tailgating wine.
So somebody out there in the world, in the Village Mafia family, has a story they're telling their family right now. One time I got to step on grapes.
I did that for 4 or 5 years. So yeah, it wasn't a
Oh,
one-time
so
thing. But the
badass.
problem is my tailgate party is so crowded right now. That takes a big
Oh yeah,
footprint, the swimming pool and stuff like that. And I used to put it right in front of the bar.
yeah.
So I was thinking about maybe bringing that back again this year because I always used to like winemaking day.
If you get there early enough, Hammer's Lot, it's not. But then probably about an hour or two, like it's just shoulder to
Right,
shoulder over by there.
right.
Yeah, it's so
Mhm.
fun.
So speaking of it being, we have the red helmet coming back, and I know it's for one game. What's your thoughts on the helmet coming back?
I've always liked the red helmet. I mean, I grew up with the red helmet. I mean, they started using the red helmet in the mid '70s, all the way through about 1995 or something like that. And I always preferred the red helmet. And to me, that was what the Bills helmet should be. Because when I started watching football and started really getting emotionally into it, that's what they wore, the red helmet. You know why they wore that red helmet by any chance back then? Anyone know the story?
No.
Nope, I hear crickets up there. Cricket, cricket,
Oh.
cricket. Joe Ferguson was colorblind, and he kept throwing interceptions to the other team because a couple of our rivals, like New England and stuff, even though you had the dark uniform, home uniforms and road uniforms, the decorative stuff on the top a little bit, it made it hard for him to see who the players were. He kept chucking the ball he kept throwing a lot of interceptions. So they changed to a red helmet so that he could see it. It stuck out like a sore thumb, throw to the red helmet guy. And then Kelly was colorblind too, so they kept it going.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
the
awesome.
whole red helmet was just because Ferguson kept throwing interceptions because he was colorblind. Couldn't pick out his players. Oh,
Man, that's awesome.
so,
You got anything else, Corey?
So obviously you see some of the news crews come by and
mhm,
especially over the last few years, like
right.
the one I was in, ESPN came in and was interviewing
Mhm.
and stuff. It was do any like maybe not players that play now, but like besides like Jim Kelly obviously and Thurman, do players actually come down there and see you or like
Yeah, yeah. No,
really?
I run into these guys a lot. The last one of those type players that came by the tailgate was last year. Andre Reed came by one time doing an interview. Is that what you mean? That type?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
they come by. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
know that
No,
you're
generally the players won't come by a tailgate party as big as mine because they'll get mobbed, and they know that, and they tell me
right.
that too. Like Thurman's always. I've heard him say. Other people have heard him say he'd go over there except he'd get mobbed. Um, I do kind of have a private work area right now that's getting harder to get to. Between the car and the band, and it's sort of getting blocked off because the crowds are so thick. You can't get through. But I had like Jason Kelsey was there 2 years ago. Chad Michael Murray was there. I've had a lot. I've had a. Geez, I don't want to name drop, but I've had quite a few back there.
Right.
I think Tasker came by last year once, but that was because of my 500th game. It was a piece he was doing.
That's
So,
so
out
cool.
of all the players that you've seen over the years, who's probably your Mount Rushmore of players that you've seen?
Mount Rushmore. Yeah. Freddie Jackson was always one of my favorite players, to tell you the truth. That guy was just a class act. Uh, I kind of put Freddie Jackson up there as one of my Mount Rushmore and one of my favorite players. I mean, he wasn't, a perennial starter. He wasn't a Pro Bowl player, but he probably represented the Bills' spirit more than anybody else. I was always a big Steve Tasker fan too. Little tiny guy. At the time, he was a little tiny guy, and just
Still is.
a tough nut. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh,
Awesome.
but
Anything else?
I always like to tell people when they ask who's your favorite player of all time, I usually say Lou Picone. I guarantee you guys don't know that name. See, crickets again. Lou Picone
Before
was a
my time.
receiver. He was a Tasker-like receiver back in the mid '80s. Yeah, he was just a tough Italian, tough and gritty. Love that guy
Right
back
before,
there.
that was right before I started watching. So I started
Mhm.
watching in 1987, 88.
Right.
That was right before I was born.
I know. I was the only one born during that time. So
Mhm.
besides you, Ken, I'm the only
Yeah.
one. So
Yeah. I like to tell people, a long 40 years ago, I was just a young and doing dumb and stupid things. Now I'm an old dude doing dumb and stupid things.
Have you been a Bills fan since you were a kid, or what made you become a Bills fan?
Yeah. Well, I was born in Western New York, so that's why we're a Bills fan. If you're born in Western New York, you got to ask a person, why aren't you a Bills fan?
Right.
But my earliest remembrances of the Bills games was in the mid to late '60s, and I can remember going over to my grandparents' house for Sunday dinner every year or something. They'd have the football game on, and one thing, I was all pissed off because they kept rooting against the Bills. I didn't understand it. That just didn't seem right to me. It's like, wait, this is our team, right? Why are you rooting against it? It's like, the Bills were winning, they get all ticked off. It's like, just didn't seem right to me. So I was starting to get a little emotional into it because I wanted to see the Bills win just to shut my parents up and shut my grandparents up. Turns out that was 1968. So now I understand they were going for the number one draft pick. They got O.J. Simpson out of that. But that's sort of the earliest memories I have is probably what was that '68 season, only because I got emotionally scarred listening to my relatives root against the Bills. And then I really started getting sucked into it in about '72 when Simpson was running for the first rushing title. I know he got 2003 and '73, but he got the rushing title in '72. And so I started getting really halfway through the season. It's like, oh wait, this guy might get the rushing title, and then started watching every game, pretty intently, watching for him to get the rushing title, and then it just spiraled from there.
awesome. Awesome. Are you going to be at the preseason game on Saturday?
Yeah, I'll be there. I go to home preseason games. I won't have the Pinto there though. I'll just be I'll go to the Hammer Lot and mooch off everyone else. See how it feels.
He's like, man, it's your turn, fellas. Take care of
And
me
I'm
this
not going to
time.
feel guilty about it after I went through 153 bottles of Vishnuka.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, we got to bring that up now that I think we were talking about that before. Ken was telling us about how, like you said, you don't have sponsors for anything. Like you said, you do it. So how many bottles of alcohol do you go through for the bowling ball?
Well, last year it was about 153. Remember that was 10 games because of the 2 playoff games, 10 regular season games. So they cost about, Vishnuka is not that expensive. It's about $13 a bottle or something like that. So yeah, my Vishnuka bill was somewhere around $2,000 last year. Yeah. But it's fun. What the hell? People
So
blow
if you go to
money.
Hammer's Lot, bring a bottle of the Schnuka.
Yeah,
Donate.
I challenge anyone to find a bottle of that stuff.
Right.
There's not a lot of places to sell it, and I know each and every place.
Until you told us what it was, I just always thought it was like a cheap brandy.
No, it's 100 proof. Yeah, tastes like crap.
I was gonna say, what do you have, a store of it, and right next to the Pinto parts store?
Actually, at this moment in time, right now, I have about 85 bottles in stock. Yeah, I have to have like 100 bottles before the season starts, even though I need much more than that. in case the stores run dry for some reason, to have a chance to find it.
Is it
I just-
considered a brandy?
It's considered a cordial.
Is it?
How? I don't know, but if you're looking for it in a store, you got to go to the cordial section, and it's a cherry cordial. So, they stack the cordials up by their type of berries. Blueberry, cherry, the different types.
So if anybody's looking for a birthday or Christmas present for Ken,
So if anybody ever did a
Bottle-
bowling ball shot at Hammer's Lot and said, "Man, that was amazing. I really got to buy that." Now
Mhm.
you know what it is.
Yeah.
I can honestly say that my bowling ball shot was non-traditional. I've still yet to do one at Hammer's Lot with Ken. We were at
there's no tradition. I've done that all over the place, every city in the United States. It was out there operating in Canton, Ohio last week. There's no traditional place to do it. You just do it.
I know, but it's just doing it at Pinto's tailgate. Like, I mean, what was it? 2-3 years ago, we were at the Poncho's Army Golf Tournament,
Right.
and I was talking with Ken, and I said, I really need to make it over there. I got to do a bowling ball shot. I haven't done one yet. And you looked right at me and you said, I think I could check that off your bucket list. And I was like, really? You're like, it's in the trunk.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? So literally outside of the country club there, on the front lawn, I'm sitting there doing a bowling ball shot. I was like, that was my great moment with Ken Pinto Ron. So yeah, it was the day I got to spend a lot of time hearing a lot of these stories, and many more that Ken has. Just a vast of Bill's knowledge. He has 1,000,001 stories to tell us. So
that's because I'm 1,000,001 years old. I just need one story a year, and then I've got a whole pile of them.
Like one story a year.
Every bowling
you
ball
only need
shot
one
he
or
does
two
at the
good
game
stories a
ages
year, and
him,
after
right?
40 years, you got 1,000,000 of them.
Is there any stories that we didn't get to or didn't bring up that you wanted to tell?
Uh-oh.
I think we lost him.
He got a call or something? I bet that's what it is. He's on pause. So, no, this was awesome. Hopefully he comes back. He probably got a call. No, he probably did get a call. That's usually what happens when it's on a phone. The screen will go black. But no, it was great talking to Ken. Unfortunately, he had a drop off.
He's back before the end. We'll continue. If not.
Yeah. But it was a pleasure to have him. I have known him for a few many years.
Sorry about that. So, I wondered what was going to happen if somebody tried to call me in the middle of this. Yeah, I rejected their phone call, and as soon as I pushed reject, you went away too.
I said, I think you got a phone call.
Yeah,
I called it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, what were you saying, Pat?
No, something? I was gonna ask. So I'm assuming you have gone to a game at the Rock Pile too, right?
I went to one game at the Rock Pile, just one. Jack Kemp was the quarterback, or he was hurt that season. He had a broken leg, so I'm guessing it was 1967. My dad took me. So then I didn't get to another game until I was in college.
So then, how exciting is it for you to obviously for next season to be at this new stadium? To say that you're one of the few people that's actually been to all three stadiums.
4 stadiums if you include Toronto, although none of us really want to talk about that. Well, I'm an older person, and consequently, I know a lot of older people too. So I'm not that unique, It's just unique for you.
Wow. I mean,
I was with a guy this weekend. He's 90 years old. He's in a group I belong to. Last weekend, I should say. And he's only missed one game, period, of every Buffalo Bills. He's every game since 1960. And he's just missed one home game. So it's hard for me to compete with something like that when I know that guy.
And then What's your thoughts on Marv Levy hitting 100 this past weekend?
Wow, that was fantastic. You know, that guy is the Mount Rushmore of Buffalo, even though he wasn't a player. And he's still yeah, well, I know he can still walk around if he wants right now. So at 100, it's pretty damn good. And he's still mentally with it, and it was so fantastic because he was there in Canton, Ohio, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, and it's funny because you talk to a bunch of Bills fans that went up to Canton,
Mhm.
that they went there mainly hoping he would be there
Right.
to see him the day before he turned 100, and to see the former Bills players that are in the hall
Hmm.
walk on stage and sing him happy birthday. That was incredible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've heard other players make stories about him, and every time they talk about him, they don't talk about what he's did with them in the game. They always
Mhm.
talk about how he does. Like he's still on the K Gun report. Brad Lamb says I still get letters from him once a year asking me how I'm doing.
Right.
Like it's awesome that the dude is. I mean, and then for him to be 100 and still
Mhm.
be all mentally there, and sure he's not moving as well as he used to, but I
He
mean,
was still moving really good last year at this time. You know,
yeah,
he
Right.
did. He had a cane, but he wasn't really heavily using the cane.
right.
So, but I can't blame him. You know, 100 years old. You know, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Sit down, get a ride. You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Well,
Yeah.
look at that. But
Awesome. I don't know. So we're kind of, we got about 4 minutes left or so.
give or
Um,
take.
we'll let you have it. And anything else that you would like to add for anyone to know
No,
about you?
I've got so many things I could say. I'd just rather be question driven. You know, I have to come out organically.
Right.
I figured I was telling them ahead of time. I was like, you kind of got to drive it out of them, but I just didn't know if there was anything that you wanted
Right.
to, mention
All
about
right,
the Bulls or
we'll go
anything.
back to Marv again. You know, we'll give you some more trivia, like the Red Helmets. If you watch old clips of Marv when he's coaching, you see he's chewing gum. Pretty, he chews pretty aggressively. Okay, why do you suppose he does that? And what motivated that story?
He's a
Nope,
smoker.
nope, nope. Because his wife would make him do it because when he wasn't chewing gum and he was coaching, his jaw would open up and his mouth would be agape. And so she makes him chew the gum to keep his mouth shut during the football games.
I do that all the time.
That is awesome.
Well, I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
You just happen to think about it, and you're eating up two of your 3 minutes left.
I don't know if you're going to know the story behind it, but William White wants to know the origin of the tables, jumping through the tables. I know that's not your thing,
No, I
but
know the origin. I know the first guy who did it. What it was what was the name of? There was a website back then. Uh, I forgot the name of the website. What they would do, I'm having a mind block. What they were doing is this website was they would publish stupid stories or dumb things and stuff. It was part of their whole what they did. It's a real popular website. It's just blowing a node right now. Anyways, they were actually just trying to get on, so they were doing different stupid things each game, submitting it. And one time they just did the table crashing, submitted it, and it actually made it. So then what they did is the next week they sort of did it again, except they changed the scenario to make it look like different people, and that made it up there too. And then it started spiraling off of that. They were actually a group of young lawyers. They were about 25, 26 years old.
Oh wow.
That's crazy.
Wish I could remember the name of that website. Oh well.
You'll remember it the minute we end this live stream.
I will.
Right.
Yeah.
They always
Deadspin. That's it. It was Deadspin. You guys know the name Deadspin?
Yeah.
It
yeah,
was Deadspin.com. Deadspin.com, one of their things would be, submit your stupid story,
Yeah.
And so they were trying different things each week, all unrelated things, but just trying to get their thing submitted. And that's the one that hit. And then they did it a couple weeks in a row after that, changing things up to make it look like different people. And then all of a sudden, everyone in Buffalo started doing it.
Awesome. Well, we're pretty much up at our hour. So, one, I want to thank you, Ken, for coming on tonight. What we like to do at the end of the show, kind of, everybody gives their final thoughts, something that they want to say. whether it be football or something. So we'll start with Corey so that we can see what it's about, and then we'll work our way around, and we'll ask you as well. So Corey, what are your final thoughts tonight?
Thanks, man. No, Ken, thank you for coming on and sharing
Mhm.
stories with us, man. They were awesome. I got I got some great laughs and some great, man. I wish I could have been around back then to experience some of that stuff and for some of those times, but
Mhm.
God, we could go for another hour. I don't even care. But no, thank you so much. And like I said, it's so cool to see the passion that is still there. And it, like you said, for you, it's you separate the game and the tailgate, and that
Mhm.
passion you have, even when you see you at the tailgates, is just so strong and so like you're just drawn to you. You're such a great dude. It's
Mhm.
been so awesome to get to talk to you tonight and hear stories. So thank you so much for giving us your time. Um, like I said, went to a couple training camps the last week, and besides the injuries coming up, things have been looking pretty good with Coleman
Mhm.
and a couple other players. So I'm excited about that. And I know Saturday I will be at the Spartan Barbecue Shack watching the Giants game, eating some wings, hanging out. So I can't wait for football to start, guys. Go Bills.
Mhm.
Patrick?
So, since you live in the Rochester area, I know our buddies over at the K Gun do their yearly Rager. Are you going to be there this year?
Where is that going to be?
Retention Brewery.
What
The
time? When is it?
Reinvention Brew. It's
I've heard about
Reinvention
that
Brewing in
before. I know what you're
Manchester.
talking about. There's always been something that gets in my way for some reason.
It'll be September 6th, the day before the week 1 game.
I could be. I'm not sure. That's usually a high demand weekend for me. The last week before. I know about it though. I'll think about it. Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
Well, if you're there, we look forward to seeing you. And
Right.
we definitely appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, we're new to this whole thing. This is only, I think, episode 8 or 9 for us,
Mhm.
and I know there's a lot of ones you could pick. And like I said, all I did was reach out, and here we are.
Yeah. How about that?
The answer is always no if you don't ask.
Right.
So
Doesn't cost anything to ask.
it's true,
Mhm.
Barton.
All right. Ken, any final thoughts for you?
The only thought I have for this upcoming season is I just want to see one before I die. One Super Bowl. And I've been saying that for 50 years, so they better get going.
Yeah, 100%. So
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead, Ken.
Oh no, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So again, thank you, Ken, for
Mhm.
gracing us with your presence tonight. Your stories are always wonderful. Every time I talk to you, I literally learn something new,
Mhm.
even though I've heard, I was telling them I've heard so many. I was kind of like telling them, hey, look, if you guys are asking about this, make sure you bring up this. I'm not
Mhm.
telling you the story of it. I
Mhm.
want him to tell it, and I want to see your reaction. So, because I
Mhm.
remember what my reaction was when I heard about your the shirts that that you throw in a bag and save them till the end of the season.
Freeze
Yeah,
them. You got to freeze them.
I'm gonna have to get one of them. I'm
If you
gonna
don't
have to
freeze them,
find you.
they get all moldy and crap like that.
I'm
Then
gonna have
then
to
we'll
get one
bring
of
them.
those shirts afterwards.
Yep, no, that was awesome. So I appreciate
Mhm.
hearing these stories. Your love of the game, love how you separate the tailgate and the game. It's something that a lot of people have a hard time doing. They want to continue one to the other.
Mhm.
So I love the separation in that. This year again, I am another firm believer. One before I die.
Mhm.
I told myself the only time I'm ever going to throw myself through a damn table is when we win a Super Bowl. So now if I
Yeah.
die after I go through the table, then we got one before I died. So I was happy.
People try to get me to jump through a table all the time. The only thing I can say to them is that I would break, the table would survive.
Yep, I know. I was talking to my
I've done
wife
it
and I said,
twice.
yeah, I said the one before I die. So when I jump through the table and I die, we won the Super Bowl before I
Yeah.
died. So the
Yeah.
statement was true.
Well, at my age, I would definitely die. At least I'd be crumpled up. I'm almost 70, for Christ's sakes,
Oh, well, you don't look at a day over 60, Ken.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, great.
He dyes
It's all
your
that
beard
mustard and
white,
ketchup,
people.
That's how I keep my hair. The mustard and ketchup treatment.
Yeah.
That's really not
Conditions
blonde
the
hair.
skin.
Yeah. It's a good skin
Conditions the
treatment.
skin
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, so I'm looking forward for a great season. Final year at the Ralph, return of the red helmets.
Mhm.
Just amazing football. Bills football. Football's been back for a week now, but Bills football is back on Saturday.
Mhm.
Yes, it is only preseason. It is against the New Jersey Giants.
Mhm.
But I'm sure we're not going to see a lot from our starters with the way that these boys keep getting hurt. Kind of need to wrap everybody in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of a double-edged sword.
mhm.
If you don't play them during preseason, they don't get in good football shape. And the first 3 weeks of the regular season, there's been an enormous amount of soft tissue injuries over the last 5 or 6 years. You might have had a season-ending injury or two, years ago when you played them, all 4 games or 3 games now. But you didn't have a lot of soft tissue injuries, and the games were pretty crisp in the first couple games back then. So I don't know which way you should go.
Yeah, I know. It's like I want to see Josh Allen in the starters, but at the same time, I don't want to see them because we just had Clear Shakir go down, with that was a high knee strain or high ankle strain,
High ankle, yeah.
high ankle strain. So do I want to see our starters continually get hurt and week one's put in jeopardy? No,
Mm-hmm.
but it is Bills football, so I do want to see our boys play.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I definitely looking forward to a great season this year. Definitely definitely coming out to see you at the Red Pinto tailgate there.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely making it out for a couple games this year. I'm not a season ticket holder just like everybody
Right.
else on here,
Mm-hmm.
but I do try to make it out to at least a game or two.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to try. I'm hoping. I want to do the salute to service just because it means something to me.
Mm-hmm.
Being prior Army, like the salute to service game means a lot to me. So I would love to come out for that one. So I'll probably see you for that one, but I will see you during the season this year, Ken. I will
Right.
stop by, say hi, see you and Pizza Pete and Captain Buffalo and all those guys over there. So, but other than that, I just want to say I hope we have a great season. We stay healthy, and go Bills.
All right, the Bills, they make us want to drink.
Right.
What's the shirt say? What is it?
Oh, it's just a normal shirt.
No. There's that shirt. It says Buffalo, a football town or a
Oh, a
drinking
football town
with
I know what you're talking
with a
about.
football problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like
A drinking
a drinking town with a football problem. Yeah.
problem,
Yeah.
That
I love
so describes Buffalo.
Mm.
Between us not being able to get over the hump and make it to the Super Bowl, the
Mm-hmm.
Sabres.
Right.
Oh God. Literally the saving grace, and Corey hates when I say this, is our Bandits.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Rochester Knights fan.
Okay.
We just got a new owner, by the way.
That's the only Buffalo team I don't like is the lacrosse. I'm a Rochester Nighthawks fan.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, other than that, can't thank you enough for gracing us with your presence tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay.
So
it was like meeting Josh Allen for me, man.
Yeah. So, but next week, make sure BWO, you guys are tuning
Buffalo
in.
World Order. Yeah.
Buffalo World Order. Make sure you guys are tuning in. We're going to be talking with Anthony from Poncho's Army.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about this first preseason game. So make sure you guys tune into that one.
Do you know there's a group called the Viking World Order? That's what they call themselves up there.
The VWO. They
Right.
they actually have 4 different sub parts of it too for each branch of the service. So
right.
I'm friends with a lot of those guys too.
Mm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Chris,
Mhm.
you know, from the Hall of Fame weekend up there, but
Mhm.
I literally have I probably know more Viking super fans than I do any other team.
Mm.
So they when we were up there in Kansas City, they had a little side thing with just the Vikings.
Mhm.
Uh I was invited, so went over there and hung around with probably about 30 or 40 Vikings fans at the
Mhm.
Kansas draft when we went around for barbecue. So it was awesome.
Mhm.
So, but the Vikings fans are really good people.
Yep.
So, you know, very hospitable. So I enjoy them. But
Mm.
They're
other
not good
than
enough to be voted best fans in the NFL, though.
that, well, it's because everybody loves our wings, you know, they come
Mhm.
and get our wings. So, but yeah, no, other than that, it was great. Thank you very
All right.
much. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week. Same place, same bat time, same bat channel.
Mm.
All right.
Go
Go
Bills.
Bills.
Mafia, mount up.